Open up my notes. So for this demo, we're going to use the Marquee tool to expand our knowledge of making selections. We used the lasso tool last week to make localized adjustments just to quickly select things. But we can use the Marquee tool to make selections that are a little bit more fine-tuned and proportionate. Though it's still not the best way to make selections. I think the pen tool is the most accurate way to make a selection, but this is another way to do it. So I'm going to get the Marquee tool, and I want the elliptical Marquee tool. And I'm just going to make a generic circle, like that. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, and I open up this context menu, and we have Free Transform, and we have Transform Selection. Don't click on Free Transform. Notice that in the note, it's in all caps. You want to transform selection, not transform. And what this allows you to do is to reshape your selection. So now if I want to select the opening of this door, I can just adjust these handles. Just like so. Just a little bit right here. Okay, so now if you can't get it exact, what you could do is you can access those other transform options that we looked at earlier, which would be distort. So now I can right click, I can hit distort, now I can distort my selection to line that up better. And now I can hit enter, and now I have a selection that is pretty close to the contour of this door opening. The next step I'm going to do is I'm going to Command C to copy, and then Command V to paste. And what it does is it places that selection of just that door opening in its own separate layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the doors. If you look at the next step, you're going to continue. So generic circle. We want to right click, transform selection. I'm going to right click and distort this a bit. All right, hit enter. And now I'm going to reselect my background layer, because if I select that layer I just copied and pasted, it's only going to copy that part of the door. So we need to copy the entire door, so you have to make sure you select your background layer. So I'm going to do Command C, Command V, and now I have both the door and the opening. So I'm going to reselect my background layer again. Generic shape, right click, transform selection. Enter. Background layer selected. Command C, Command V. Door number 2. Let's do door 3 now. I need to hit the F key so I can slide over. If you forget the right click option, whenever you have marching ants, you're dealing with selections. So all selections will have a relationship to the select menu on the top here. So you can also just go to the menu, and transform selection. So that's the second way you can do that. Hit Enter, Command C, Command, oops, I got to select my background layer. Command C, Command V. Now let's do the last door here. All right, hit Enter. Select the background layer, Command C, and then Command V. So now I have all of the doors cut out and separated from the background. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Command and Shift, and when I do that, well, if I hold Command down, notice my cursor gets a little box with marching ants around it. What that does is it allows you to select whatever is inside of your layer thumbnail. So now I just have this selected right now. But if I want to add to my selection, do you remember when we were working with the magic wand, how this one is to select, add to selection, subtract from selection, intersect your selections? Rather than doing that, I could use the keyboard shortcut, which is the Shift key, because I get that little plus now. I can hold Shift and Command, and now I get a plus inside of that marching ant box. Now I can add that, that, and that. And if I turn these all off, you can't really see that selection, so let me turn my background into another color. There we go. Now you can see my marching ants are just a shape now. What I can do is I can use that shape on my background layer, double click the background layer, and we're going to name this, first let me go to the next step here. So we're going to double click the background layer and we're going to rename it Door Mask. Hit OK. So now my background layer is unlocked. Next step, with your marching ant still active, click on the Layer Mask button. The Layer Mask button is on the bottom of your Layers panel. It is between the FX button and the black and white cookie. It's the rectangle with a hole in it. So my selection is still turned on. I'm going to click that. And now everything inside of my layer mask that's in black is covered up. Everything that's in white is revealed. So now what I could do is I could hold Command and click on my mask, and I have my selection back again. And now, if I want, I could, Command D, I could bring some of this back with the paintbrush, so I get black paint. Remember how we talked about black conceals, white reveals? So if I get white paint, I can bring back that original image. Or I can just quickly fill it with white, Option, Delete, and now it's back. The other benefit of marching ants on an image, so if I do this, I'll Command click here. If I wanted to get rid of this sticker without messing with the door here, I can invert my selection, get the stamp tool, set up a retouching layer, stamp tool, and the ants will actually protect the door from getting manipulated by the stamp tool. But because the closed shape is on the inside of the door, I have to invert my selection in order to affect the outside. Because if I do this right now, it's not going to do anything. So I need to go to select, inverse, and now my close shape is opposite. I can apply a feather to that so it matches the blurring in the image. I'll just do a 1-point feather. Opacity. I'm doing a bad job at this. I'm going to go in between the healing brush and the stamp. I'm just going to blend this in. So right now I'm in the healing brush now. I'm just trying to blend in the stamp that I just did. All right. Not the best job, but it was a quick job. And what it did was it just protected that edge. So using these tools, whether it's the lasso tool or the marquee tool, if I needed to have like a harder edge or just like a more symmetrical edge, I could get the rectangular one, like so, and then I can retouch whatever's in this space without manipulating anything outside of that right there too. And you always want to have like a small feather on there just so it matches and you're not getting a hard line where the marching ants are. So I'm going to throw away this retouching layer. I'm going to reselect all of these. D. That. Now I'm just going to fill, I'm going to invert this. Then I'll fill this with black. Command D. So when you're done, your mask should look like this right here. And you should have all of these doors separated out and cut and pasted into their own separate layers.